everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you could join me today. I hope you're doing well. By the time you see this video, it's probably New Year's, so Happy New Year's to you. Have you set your intentions for 2023? I really don't like that term. I don't like setting intentions because to me it's a setup for failure because we never really fully fulfill our intentions, in my opinion. Now that doesn't mean we don't try, because I certainly know that I do try, but I never fully reach my goals. It's just really difficult when you get caught up in life and things happen and the trajectory of your life changes. But one thing that I can always count on is this channel and my beautiful viewers. And I truly appreciate every single one of you. I really do. Whenever I publish a video, my biggest highlight is reading the comments because you guys are so full of wisdom and you're so generous and so kind. I really, truly appreciate it. And I guess my goal for this year is to continue to build this channel and build this community. I want this channel to be all about positivity and creativity and inspiration. And I'm happy to say that most of the comments are always very positive and very helpful. So I'm very grateful. Now, I don't want to sound all Pollyanna-ish. I think that's a word, isn't it? But anyway, this channel has been positive for the most part. I mean, I have had some comments in the past that have made me feel a little uncomfortable or a little unhappy. But for the most part, everybody's been so generous and so kind. And I'm telling you guys, your comments is what really keeps me going. And like I said before, it's the highlight of my day. I love to publish a video and then I love to sit down and read all the comments. I don't always get to respond to them, but I read every single one of them and I really, truly appreciate it. So anyway, that's my goal for 2023. I want to continue to build this community. And I want to continue to deliver content that's pleasing and helpful to you. And at the same time, I would like you to help me by leaving comments down below so that other viewers can find them helpful. For example, if somebody needs the answer to a question, most of the time somebody responds, either I respond or a viewer responds. And you know, guys, this is the future. And unfortunately, having friendships online is going to be the norm for most people. I mean, we're already doing Zoom meetings and we're doing Zoom doctor's appointments. I just think it's going to keep happening and I don't see it going away anytime soon. And I actually don't mind when I think about it because it's helped me a lot because, as you know, I'm not from the US. I have family overseas. And so for me, being connected virtually is important. And so, you know, the same thing happens in the US. If you live on the East Coast, for example, you might have family on the West Coast. And so how easy is it to turn on your video chat and say hello whenever you want? I feel the same way about this channel. I love it that we have a platform where we can join forces to help each other out and offer support whenever we need it. And of course, it's a great place for creativity and inspiration. So anyway, that's just a long way for me to say thank you. That's all I really want to say. I just wanted to let you know how grateful I am to have you in my life and how humbled I am to have such a great community. But anyway, guys, today's tutorial is going to be a little bit different. I've never done a tutorial on earrings. I've done them on bracelets and I've done them on necklaces. And I think I have thrown in a very quick earring tutorial here and there, but it hasn't been anything special, just something very basic. But I don't think today's earrings are going to be basic. At least that's what I'm hoping. Maybe some of you might find them basic, but hopefully I'll give you some ideas and some inspiration so that you can make your own. Now, I will be using the beads that came in Sam's Bead Box for the month of December 2022. The name of the box was Winter Ball. And I know some of you don't have those beads, but I still feel like you should be able to make these earrings with beads of your own. And if you're not familiar with Sam's Bead Box, I'll leave a link down below so you can go check out the website. I'm also going to leave a list of all the materials and the tools that I'm going to be using today. And as always, I always leave timestamps down below as well, in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. So anyway, guys, we have 5 pairs of earrings to make. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And here we have Sam's Bead Box for the month of December 2022. The name of the box is Winter Ball. As you can see, it contained a whole bunch of Czech glass beads in different shapes. Some of them had a beautiful AB finish on them. One of the nicest things about Sam's Bead Box is that he always includes different sizes, different shapes, and it always has nature-themed beads as well. At least the ones I've unboxed so far have had that. But the primary colors in this collection are the blues and the clear glass. Of course, we also had some beautiful apatite gemstones. But anyway, guys, I've already done an unboxing for this box. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below. And we're not going to be using a whole bunch of beads today because we're going to be making earrings. But I am going to use a few beads from each of these bags. So instead of pulling out all the bags, I'm just going to pull out what we're going to need as I go along. And since we're going to be making 5 pairs of earrings, I may speed through some of the steps so this video isn't too long. So let me go ahead and pull out the beads for the first pair. Here are the beads we're going to be using for the first pair of earrings, and I know it seems like a lot, but like I said, we're only going to use a couple of beads from each bag. But let me go over them with you really quick. We have these beautiful carved owls, These are absolutely gorgeous. They measure 15 by 18 millimeters. We have these Czech Fire Polished rounds. The color is Capri, but they have a little bit of golden plating on one side of the bead, and these measure 4 millimeters in size. Then we have these here. These are called Royal Diamond beads. They're half clear crystal and half white silk with a golden wash, and these are absolutely gorgeous. I love these. They measure 10 by 19 millimeters. They're really pretty beads. We have some Czech rounds again, and the color is clear crystal with AB. They measure 4 millimeters in size. And we have these Rondelle spacer beads. The color is gold Decadence, and they measure 2 by 4 millimeters in size. So let me go ahead and pull them out of the bags. And here are the beads we're going to be needing for the first pair of earrings. As you can see, I've already made one of them. And I did forget one other kind of bead. We're actually going to be using some of these pinch beads. As you can see, the color is all gold, and these measure 4 by 5.5 millimeters. I already have 2 down there. And I also have 2 of the 4 millimeter Capri colored beads, 3 of the clear ones, 2 of the Rondelle spacer beads, 1 of these beautiful diamond shaped beads, and the owl bead. And let me show you this earring. I think it's absolutely adorable. Of course, I will attach an ear wire hook when I get done. And by the way, I usually use stainless steel ear wire hooks. I don't like to use any other kind of metal, simply because most people can wear stainless steel with no problem. Not everybody can, but I think most people can. But if you want to use something nicer, you could use gold filled or gold plated. It's up to you what you want to use, but those can be a little bit pricey. I'm going to be using some ball head pins. Obviously, these did not come in the box. And these are the kind that are very thin, which will allow me to do some wrap loops. I'll be using some 20 gauge wire today, and this is by Artistic Wire. As you can see, it's in a gold color. You can use any brand, but I do recommend that you use tarnish resistant wire. And here I've cut myself a 2-inch piece. And here are 2 ear wire hooks. Like I said, they're stainless steel. So these are all the materials for 1 earring. Obviously, you're going to have to double the amount to make 2 earrings. So let me show you how to assemble it. I'm going to start by kinking my wire at the top, and I'm going to kink it at about 1/2 inch down, just like that. And now using some round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the wire, just like this so it's flush, and I'm going to create a loop. Very simple. You do want to make sure that you close the loop properly. And now let's go ahead and thread on a bead. I'm going to thread on one of these clear beads, and then a spacer bead, and the owl bead, and the other spacer bead, just like that. And now I'm going to grab the pin again, right where the spacer bead is, line up the bottom loop, kink it, and now I'm going to snip off the excess. And I do want this loop to be a little bit bigger, so definitely 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more. And now I'm going to grab the wire at the wide part of my pliers and go ahead and loop it. You do want to make sure that it's closed really well, okay? So this is what we have so far. And now let's go ahead and work on this one. I'm going to use one of the head pins for this one. Using my round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the pin at the top of the bead like this, kink it, and I want this loop to be super small, so I'm going to grab it at the very tip of my pliers, just like that. Grab the tail, wrap it around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, and continue to wrap that tail to the back, just like that. And now I'm going to make some wraps. And whenever I make wraps, I always like to grab the loop with a set of skinny pliers. I like these because they have a very skinny tip. These are actually crimping pliers, but I use the very tip, just like that. And then with another set, I'm going to grab the tail, and I'm going to do a couple of wraps. And you can do as many wraps as you want to. And now using my flush cutters, I'm going to cut off the excess pin. And that one actually went flying. I should have put my fingers over it. And now I'm going to tuck in the little tail with some pliers. You do want to make sure that you tuck in any little sharp end that's sticking out. So that one's done. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing with all of these little beads. It's not going to be easy because they're tiny, but it's the same process. Let me just do one with you and show you. You want to thread it onto your ball head pin like this. Grab it at the very top of the bead. Kink it. Switch to this part of the wire, the long part. And now take the tail, wrap it around the nose, flip the pliers around, and continue to wrap to the back. I'm going to grab the loop with my skinny pliers. And with another set, I'm going to grab the tail and I'm going to do a couple of wraps. And now snip off the excess. Sometimes it's easier to grab the loop so that it's easier to tuck in the little sharp end, especially when the beads are so small. But that one's done, as you can see. So anyway, guys, I'm going to do these off camera to save time, and I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I've mounted all the little beads on ball head pins. So now we just need to assemble the whole thing. I'm going to start by opening up this loop. And now I'm going to thread one of the clear dangles. And then one of the blue ones. And then one of the pinch beads. And then the diamond bead, or the diamond shaped bead I should say. And now I'm going to reverse the order. I'm going to thread on a pinch bead. And by the way, guys, you don't have to do it in this order. You can do it in whatever order you want to. And now a Capri colored bead. And now one of these clear AB beads. And now I'm going to carefully close this loop. And by the way, guys, as you can see, these are tapered flat nose pliers. I love using these because it helps me to get into small spaces. So here's the earring, and I think it's adorable. They're so cute. Let's go ahead and attach the ear wire hooks now. I'm simply going to open up this loop and slide the ear wire hook onto it and close it up. Let me go ahead and do this one now. And tell me these are not adorable. I think they're super cute. I love anything that has owls. I don't know what it is about that bird, but I really love owls. So this is the first pair, and now let's move on to the second pair. So let me go ahead and get those beads. Here are the items we're going to be using for the second pair. We're going to be using the spacer beads again. They're the same spacer beads that I used in the first pair. We're also going to be using the same Capri colored 4mm rounds. And the focal bead for these earrings are these gorgeous coin beads. They're called lacy coin beads, and they're in a clear crystal color with a gold wash, and they measure 13.5mm. These are so pretty. We're also going to be using two items from this collection. This is the Terra Cast collection, and we're going to be using the Celtic braids. Let me pull them out. And here they are. These measure 5.5 by 25mm. They're pretty long, but I absolutely adore these, and when I first saw them, I knew I had to use them in a pair of earrings. Let me go ahead and pull them out of the bags now. And here are the materials for the second pair of earrings. As you can see, I've already built one of them. Let me show it to you. For this one I used some chain and I'm going to pull it out in just a minute. Obviously you can make the chain pieces as long or as short as you want to. It's up to you. I think it's really cute. As you can see, I have my 2 stainless steel ear wire hooks. I have one of the puffy coin beads, and I have 1 blue 4mm bead and 2 spacer beads. And here's that Celtic braid. I also have a jump ring and it's 4mm in size, and I have 2 ball head pins and a piece of 20 gauge wire. It's about a 2-inch piece, but you could probably get away with less. Let's go ahead and mount the coin bead first. Once again, I'm going to grab the wire at the top and kink it. And now using my round nose pliers, I'm going to create a loop. And let's thread on the coin bead. And now I'm going to grab the wire at the base of the bead, line up the bottom loop, kink it, snip off the excess, and I'm going to create another loop at this end. Like I said before, you want to make sure you close your loop really well. And now I'm going to mount these beads on the ball head pins. This one's going to have 2 of these spacer beads. And this one's just going to have the 1 Capri colored bead. Now I'm going to create a loop, but I'm not going to do the wraps just yet. And by the way, guys, these pliers are by Lindstrom, and I like using these because they have very skinny tips, as you can see. So if you want small loops, that's what I recommend. Most pliers don't have such skinny tips. So now I'm going to go ahead and wrap the tail around the nose, flip my pliers around, and continue to wrap to the back. And like I said, I'm not going to close it just yet because I want to attach it to chain. Once I attach it to the link of the chain, then I can do the wraps. So now let me do the same for these beads. So here's the chain that I'm going to be using. As you can see, I have it on a spool, and I'm going to keep it on the spool until I cut it. It's just a lot easier to do that, and there's less waste when you do it like that. And by the way, these links are 2 by 3mm, so they're pretty small. So my first piece is going to have 7 links, and I'm going to be attaching the blue bead to it. So let me count 7. This is the 7th link right here. Let me open up this loop so it's easier to work with. And now I'm going to slide the link of the chain into the loop. It's a little bit fiddly, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can see it. And now I'm going to grab the loop with my skinny pliers. And with my other set, I'm going to grab the tail and I'm going to do a couple of wraps. Cut off the excess. Tuck in the little end if you see one. So now that I've attached it, I'm going to go ahead and snip off the next link over. Let me just pick it up and show you. As you can see, we have 7 links, and this is not easy, guys. Okay, I'll be honest. It's a little bit frustrating because the chain is very tiny. And this one's going to be even worse because it's only going to have 4 links. So once again, you want to get your chain and lay it out. And now I'm going to count 4 links. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you do want to open up that loop to make it easier. And now I need to slide the chain into my loop the best way I can. Just like that. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Let me grab the loop now with my skinny pliers. And with another set, I'm going to grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess. And now tuck in the little end if you see one. So now we've connected this dangle. As you can see, it's hanging off the 4th link. So I'm going to go ahead and snip the 5th link. So now both of these are done. And now I'm going to cut a piece of chain for the Celtic braid. And this one's going to have 6 links. But before I cut my chain, I'm going to connect the Celtic braid and the jump ring. Let me go ahead and open up this jump ring. I'm going to connect it to the chain. And then I'm going to connect the Celtic braid. And let me go ahead and close up the jump ring. So now that I've connected it, I'm going to count the links and cut off what I don't need. And like I said, I need 6 links. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to snip off this one. So now we have the chain attached. And let me show you how to assemble this earring now. I'm simply going to open up this loop. And I'm going to connect the blue bead first. It's a little challenging because these links are so tiny. And then the Celtic braid. And then this one with the spacer beads. Just like that. And close up my loop. I think this earring is really pretty. And now let me go ahead and connect the ear wire hooks. So here are these two, and I absolutely love them. And like I said, if you want an earring that's not so long, you can use shorter pieces of chain or eliminate the chain altogether. It's up to you. So now let's go ahead and move on to the 3rd pair of earrings. Here are the beads we're going to be using for the 3rd pair of earrings. We're going to be using the Rondelle spacers again. We're also going to be using the faceted rounds in the Capri color and the clear ones as well with the AB finish. We're also going to be using the pinch beads and these cute Zuni bear beads and these table cut oval beads as well. Let me go ahead and pull them out of the bags. Here are the beads for the 3rd pair of earrings. As you can see, I've already made one of them. And these are the beads we're going to need for the other earring. We have 1 spacer bead, 1 clear 4mm bead, 2 of the Capri colored 4mm beads, 1 pinch bead, the table cut oval, and the Zuni bear. And we also have 2 ball head pins, 1 piece of 20 gauge wire, and I'm also going to be using a piece of 24 gauge wire because we're going to be doing some wrap loops on one of these beads. So I've cut myself a 3-inch piece, but you could probably get away with less. Let me go ahead and work on this one first. I'm going to grab the wire a little bit more than 1/3 of the way down, kink it, switch to this part of the wire, wrap the tail around the nose, flip the pliers around, and continue to wrap the tail to the back. And I'm going to go ahead and close this loop now. And when I say close, I mean I'm going to do some wraps. So I'm going to grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess wire. And now I'm going to tuck in the little end. Let me thread on a blue bead. I'm going to grab the pin at the top of the bead, line up the bottom loop just like that, kink it, switch to this portion of the wire, take the tail, wrap it around the nose of my pliers, flip my pliers around, and continue to wrap to the back. And I'm not going to close it with wraps just yet. I need to attach some chain to it first. Let me just get rid of this piece of wire. So now let's work on the Zuni bear. I'm going to kink my wire at the top just like I've been doing. Grab the wire with my round nose pliers. Make sure it's flush. Create a loop. And now I'm going to thread on one of these blue beads. And then the Zuni bear. And now the spacer bead. So this is what we have so far. I'm going to go ahead and create a loop at this end. One thing you do want to make sure you do is to make sure your loops are lined up. So now this one's done. And this one's going to be mounted on a ball head pin. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab the pin at the top of the bead like this, kink it, switch, and then wrap the tail around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, and continue to wrap to the back. I am going to close this one with wraps. Snip off the excess. Tuck in whatever little end is sticking out, if you see one. So that one's done. And I'm going to go ahead and thread these onto the ball head pin. I'm threading on the pinch bead first, and then the clear bead. And I'm going to go ahead and create a loop, and I'm not going to finish it with wraps. I'm just going to create the loop and leave it open. And now before I do the wraps, I'm going to attach it to this one. And now I'm going to grab it with my skinny pliers. And with another set, I'm going to do some wraps. Snip off the excess. And tuck in the little end. And now it's time to cut some chain. As you can see, I still have it on the spool. And this one's going to have 8 links. So let me count the links. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just like before, to make it easier to slide, I'm going to open up this loop a little bit. Slide the link into that open loop and close it. Grab it with my skinny pliers. And now with another set, I'm going to grab the tail and do my wraps. Snip off the excess. Tuck in the little end. So now that it's attached, I need to snip off the next link over. So now we just need to connect it to the Zuni bear. I'm going to open up this loop. I'm going to hook on the oval bead first, and now this one. And now let me close the loop. So now we have both of them done, as you can see, and aren't they adorable? I love the way this one looks. This oval bead reminds me of a feather, and they definitely give off a Native American vibe. Here are my 2 ear wire hooks. I'm going to go ahead and connect them. So here are the Zuni Bear earrings, and aren't they adorable? They're so cute. So now let's go ahead and move on to the 4th pair of earrings. And here are the beads for the 4th pair of earrings. As you can see, I'm going to be using some of the apatite rounds. I'm also going to be using the 4mm Capri Fire Polished beads. And I'm going to be using a couple of these gorgeous daisy crystal beads. And these eucalyptus leaf beads as well. Both of these have that gorgeous AB finish, which I absolutely love. And I almost forgot, I am going to be using some of these Rondelle spacer beads. Let me go ahead and take the beads out of the bags. And here are the items for the 4th pair of earrings. Let me show you what it looks like. As you can see, it has those pretty eucalyptus leaves with the AB finish, as well as that daisy flower bead. And of course we have the apatite bead at the top. And I did make some dangles with the Capri colored 4mm beads. I've already mounted 3 on ball head pins, as you can see. 2 of them have wrap loops and the other one is open. And once again, the reason I have it open is because I'm going to be attaching it to chain. Now for these leaves, I'm going to use some very thin gauge wire. I'm going to be using 26 gauge wire, and this is by Artistic Wire. It's in a gold color, as you can see. And the reason I'm using thin wire is because I don't want to break those beads. Plus I want the loops to be very delicate looking. And here are 3 pieces. Each one is about 2.5 inches long. So let me show you how to do this. I'm going to thread the wire through the hole of the bead and bring it to the center like this. And now I'm going to bend the wire upward and cross it at the top. The best way to do it is by pulling on both ends like this. You want the wire to cross just above the bead like this. And now I'm going to kink this piece upward. Let me straighten it out a little bit. So this is what you should have. And this is a little challenging, but you want to grab that loop right where the 2 wires cross, maybe a little bit to the left of it. And now I'm going to grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. I'm going to snip off the excess wire and tuck in whatever little end is sticking out. So this is what it should look like. And now I'm going to grab the wire at the very top of the wraps with my round nose pliers. Kink it. Switch to this portion of the wire. Take the tail, wrap it around. Flip the pliers around and continue to wrap that tail to the back. And now we're simply going to do some wraps. So I'm going to grab the loop. And I'm going to grab the tail. And I'm going to do a couple of wraps right over the wraps that I created before. This wire is really thin, so it really doesn't matter if you go over the top. And now cut off the excess. And you definitely want to tuck in any little end that's sticking out. So this is what you should have. It's not a perfect wrap, it's a little bit of a messy wrap, but like I said before, the wire is pretty thin, so you can't really notice it. And let me go ahead and do a second one just like that. Alright, I've done 2, and now I'm going to do a third one, but I'm not going to finish the wraps on this one because I need to attach it to chain. So once again, I'm crossing the wires right above the bead like this. Let me straighten this one out a little bit. And now I'm going to kink it so that it's pointing straight up, like this. And now I'm going to grab this loop and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess, tuck it in, and now I'm going to grab the wire at the top of the wraps, just like before, like this, kink it, switch to this portion of the wire, take the tail, wrap it around the nose, flip the pliers around, and continue to wrap to the back. But I'm not going to close it up with wraps because I'm going to attach it to chain like I said before. Let me straighten this a little bit. Let me just turn this loop so that it's perpendicular. And now we're going to go ahead and mount the apatite and the daisy. So once again, I'm going to kink my wire at the top. I'm going to form a loop. And now I'm going to thread on this spacer bead, and then the apatite bead, and then this daisy. I'm going to grab the wire right where the bead is, line up the bottom loop, kink it, cut off the excess, create another loop at this end, let me just straighten out my loops. So this one's done. Now this is going to sound crazy, but we're going to cut off a piece of chain now that has 2 links only. I know that's not a lot, but it's going to make a difference. But before we cut the links, we're going to go ahead and connect this leaf. And I'm going to connect it to the very last link. And now let me grab the loop with my skinny pliers, grab the tail, and do a couple of wraps right over the wraps that I created earlier. And now I'm going to cut off the excess. And now let me tuck it in. So that's what we have so far. And now I'm going to connect one of these blue beads, the one that has the open link. And I'm going to connect it to the same link that the leaf is connected to, which is the last link. Let me open up this loop a little bit. That way it slides in better. And now I'm going to grab the loop with my pliers and grab the tail and do some wraps. Snip off the excess. Tuck in whatever little end is sticking out. So this is what we have so far. And now I'm going to cut the 2 links away from the main piece. As you can see, the first link has the 2 dangles. So I'm going to cut link number 3. And now we just need to assemble the earring. And this is the difficult part because I'm going to have to hook this on really carefully, and it's going to be very difficult because the links are really tiny. First thing we're going to do is open up this loop. I'm going to connect one of these blue ones. And now one of these leaves. And now this one. And I'm going to have to find the link that's not being used. Let me see if I can get it. It's very challenging because it's so tiny, but there it is. And now a leaf bead. And now a blue Capri bead. And now let me close up the loop So this earring is done. Aren't these cute, guys? They're so adorable. Here are my 2 ear wire hooks. Let me go ahead and connect them. So do you have a favorite yet? I can't make up my mind which one I like the best, but these are definitely very cute. Let's go ahead and move on to the last pair of earrings. And here are the beads we're going to be using for these earrings. As you can see, we're going to be using the Rondelle spacers again. We're also going to be using the 4mm Capri colored beads and the clear ones as well. Now these are really cute. I love these. These are called lacy drop beads and the color is Capri with gold wash. They measure 12 by 17 millimeters and I absolutely adore the color of these beads. I think they're so gorgeous. We're also going to be using a couple of these. These are really cute as well. These are called ornate rectangles. They measure 11 by 12 millimeters and as you can see they come in 2 colors. Capri blue and clear, and they have a gold wash. Let me go ahead and pull the beads out of the bags. Here are the materials for the 5th pair of earrings. Let me show it to you. As you can see, the rectangular bead is at the top, the teardrop shaped bead is at the bottom, and it has a couple of dangles down below. I think it's very different and very cute. As you can see, I've already mounted the clear bead and the blue bead on a ball head pin. This one has a wrap loop and that one is open. I haven't done the wraps on that one yet. I have 2 spacer beads and another blue bead up there. And I have 2 pieces of 20 gauge wire. Let's go ahead and get started with this one. I'm going to kink it at the top just like I've been doing all along. And now let me make a loop. Thread on a blue bead. And then the rectangular bead and a spacer bead. Grab the wire where the spacer bead is, line up the bottom loop, kink it, cut off the excess, and now I'm going to make another loop here. So that's done. And now let's work on this one. Same thing, I'm going to kink the wire at the top, make a loop, thread on a spacer, thread on the teardrop shaped bead, grab the wire at the base of the bead, line up the bottom loop, kink it, snip off the excess, make a loop, let me just make sure my loops are lined up. So that's done. Let me get my chain. So once again, I'm going to attach one of the dangles to the last link. So now we need to cut off the chain, but before we cut off the chain, I'm going to do it a little different this time because it's so challenging to work with such little lengths. So I think what I'll do this time is connect this component to the chain before I cut it. Let me show you. I'm going to open up this loop, hook on this dangle, like that, and now I'm going to hook on the chain, and I'm going to go to the second link, just like that. And now let me close this loop. So I think this is an easier way to connect small links. It's better to connect the components before you cut the chain. That way you have something to hold on to. So now I'm going to cut the next link over. And that's what we have so far. Let's connect it to this one now. Open up this loop. And close it up. Let me get the ear wire hooks and I'll go ahead and connect them. So here are these two, and I think they turned out really lovely. Definitely very unique, and of course I love the colors. So now let me get the other 4 pairs of earrings and I'll arrange them on my board. Well, here are the 5 pairs of earrings, and I think they're all very cute. I can't decide which one I like the best, but I guess if I had to choose, I'd probably choose the owl earrings. And then my next favorite would have to be the Zuni bear earrings. They're all actually very adorable. And of course, I'm going to ask you to tell me which one you like the best. You know, guys, you can't go wrong. When you start with a beautiful collection of beads like the ones that came in Sam's bead box, you're going to end up with a beautiful finished product no matter what. And it makes designing so much easier when the beads are nice. Now, I'm not going to model all of them. I think I'll model just the owl earrings since I'm going to be keeping them. So let me go ahead and put them on and I'll come back and say goodbye. Well, what do you think of the owl earrings? Don't you love them? I absolutely adore them. I actually only have one of them on because I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and sell these. I was going to keep them originally, but then I thought, no, you know, I don't wear earrings that often, to be quite honest. And I don't know why, because I actually love earrings. I think it's because I always wear my hair down. I don't know. But the other reason is that even stainless steel bothers my skin sometimes. And so I'd rather not wear earrings. But anyway, what I'm going to do is take this ear wire hook off and put a new one on. And that way I can sell them. So anyway, guys, I would love it if you could leave some comments down below and let me know which one you like the best. I'd be very curious to read your comments. I hope I've given you some inspiration. I hope I've tapped into your creativity. And I hope you can make your own earrings. And once again, I want to wish everybody a happy new year, full of lots of good health and joy and happiness and creativity and inspiration. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye.